Hello, I'm Arlene Herson, and I'm glad you can join me this evening because we're invited to a party. We're at the Seagram Building at 375 Park Avenue, where there is a party in progress for City Meals on Wheels. The party is hosted by Sam Bronfman of Seagram and Jonathan Tisch of Lowe's Hotels. Not only are they here, but however, it is a star-studded celebrity party. We are going to meet the host of the party and many of the stars that are here right after this message, so please stay right there. Hello, I'm Arlene Herson. We're back, and you can see we're right in the middle of the party for City Meals on Wheels. My first guest is Jonathan Tisch, president of Lowe's Hotels, also chairman of Restaurant Week for City Meals on Wheels. He's going to give us some background on what's happening here. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you for inviting me. City Meals on Wheels is an agency that is half public, half private. And the nice thing about it is that every dime that is donated actually goes to delivering meals to the homebound and the elderly. On a particular weekend, City Meals on Wheels will deliver 8,500 meals to people in all 5 boroughs.
Now, as I understand and reading about it, that during the week, it is federally funded. People get meals that the government pays for. Mm-hmm. They would not; these same people would not have any food.
Right. They would depend on family or friends to take care of them on the weekends. But because of City Meals on Wheels, they do get meals on the weekends and during the holidays.
How did you get involved?
Well, Lowe's Hotels has always been corporately involved, especially in New York City, since this is our home base and we have a couple properties here. And through my father, who has now gone on to Washington to become Postmaster General, we have always felt a tie to City Meals on Wheels. And when he went down to Washington, he asked me to take over some of his responsibilities, and needless to say, it was a pleasure to get involved with this particular charity.
And your father, for those who don't know, is Robert Tisch, now Postmaster General, formerly president of Lowe's Hotels. Congratulations, by the way. You are now president of Lowe's Hotels.
Thank you.
And a family who is very involved in not just this charity, but charity in general.
The Tisch family has always been committed to New York City, and some of the other charities we're involved in. My Uncle Larry is chairman of the board of NYU, and we get involved in many different events in New York City, and I have the pleasure of also being involved with the Big Apple Circus, which is currently on at Lincoln Center under a tent. And but this is a fun week. We have a lot of New Yorkers involved, and through American Express and Seagram's and Swit and Low and Lowe's Hotels, and also Philip Morris, who will be donating $500 for each ace during the Virginia Slims tournament down at Madison Square Garden. We hope to raise a lot of money this week.
Okay, well, we're also going to interview a lot of the stars that are here. This is a wonderful week, a wonderful party. Hal Linden is here, Loretta Swit is here. Lots of stars. They're going to be on the show, and I thank you for having us here, for telling us a little bit about City Meals on Wheels, and maybe we'll talk some more later.
Great.
Thanks for being here. We're going to speak with some of the other people here, some of the stars, and some of the hosts. We'll be right back. We're back, and right now we're joined by a very special guest. We have actress Loretta Swit with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you in the midst of this exciting party.
It's chaos, yes.
But you have a very exciting life.
Yes, I do.
I must say, but we're here for City Meals on Wheels. Even before we talk a little bit about what you're doing, your parents, your family live in New Jersey. City Meals on Wheels really is there to feed the people who can't feed themselves otherwise. Would your parents have ever been in that kind of situation?
No, and sadly, I've just lost my father, October 9th. And fortunately, no, they were not ever in that position. But I'm a staunch supporter of this idea. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant idea. And if there's anything I can do to help support it, I will. I think it's just wonderful.
Well, giving your time to things like this, and I'm sure it's something that in your celebrity status you're asked a lot to be at functions, so just giving your time and being here.
We are asked, and after a while, you really do need to be selective, and you need to, I think, have a gut reaction to something that means something to you, something that's important to you. And when I read about this, I thought that's the one I want to be a part of, and I feel that very strongly.
Right now you're on Broadway. You have done so many things in your career. You've played so many different parts. And right now on Broadway in The Mystery of Edward Drood.
That's right.
What part do you play in that for the audience?
The Princess Puffer. And I'll be leaving soon, I'm sad to say. I'm going to Germany to do a film about Christmas, and then to London after my trip to Africa. We're going to be traveling quite a bit to London to do a series on the BBC for 12 weeks. So I'm off. I'll be gone for another 6 months.
Okay, obviously, Edward do those things different for a while. Hot Lips and Black.
That's right, for a long while.
Right, okay, in MASH. Unfortunately, we have some people walking in front of the camera. But Hot Lips, did you find that was ever something that was difficult to get out of that? Did you feel stereotyped ever in a role?
I never did, but I think I'm the wrong one to ask about that. I was inside looking out. You know what I mean by that? I was doing the character, and so I never felt hemmed in by her because I continued to do other characters. The impressions from the outside in might be different. I don't know that. We never find out if we're being typecast. Do you know what I mean?
True. Well, but you do find out, because if you are, then you don't get all the other roles. Obviously you have, so you didn't get typecast, because that was due to your talent, I think. I mean, MASH, that group of guys, that was really the start of it all.
It was wonderful.
And it must have been a lot of fun.
Absolutely wonderful for all of us, I think. The time we spent there together was magic.
Okay. And magic spending time with you here. I thank you for taking your time. I know
Thanks
it's
so
hectic
much.
here, but
I love
hope
to work.
that you'll come back and we can talk some more on a regular full-length show when you
Sure.
get back from Europe.
That would be lovely.
Thank you.
I'll see you then.
Please stay right there. We have many more guests coming. We'll be back in a minute. I'm Arlene Herson, and now I have another very special guest, Hal Linden, who is joining us. Thank you.
Hi there.
Actually, I only have you for a few minutes here, but I've had you for a half hour.
Don't tell anybody. My wife doesn't know about it, but that's okay.
But you were on the show, and you were
Yes.
wonderful, by the way. Now you have, as a matter of fact, I interviewed you in Atlantic City at Caesars. Now, different. Now, here we are, City Meals on Wheels in New York City, where you are starring on Broadway in I'm Not
I'm not
Rappaport.
Rappaport.
Wonderful role.
Oh, wonderful show, wonderful role. It's a pleasure being back on Broadway.
Since the Rothschilds, was that the last one?
Actually, no, the last show was Pajama Game, but that was 13 years ago. So
Okay.
it's been 13 years of Hollywood television, movies, now back to Broadway.
Very busy. Not bad from a saxophone player from the Bronx.
Not bad. No, it's been an interesting existence, yeah.
The part that you play now,
An
in I'm Not
81-year-old man.
Yeah.
81-year-old man.
And you look 81. And you seem 80. I mean, you don't look 81 now. I mean, but is that tough to get that feeling across to the audience?
It's a question of specificity. It's a question of you don't just play 81. You have to put into your behavior all the elements that describe an 81-year-old, the limitations of movement, the limitations of how much you can move your leg. I just crossed my knees. On the stage, it takes me about 4 minutes to cross my knees. So you have to, one by one, put in all the behavioral limitations of age. And until then, you can just play the part.
Yeah, but it's not easy because you're spry, you're young, you cross your legs naturally.
Not only that, but the character is vital, excitable, 100% energy all the time guy, and that's hard.
Yeah.
To constantly limit the movement, the behavior, to the limits of an 81-year-old body.
Actually, we're here for City Meals on Wheels. However, but I do want to put in a plug for I'm Not Rappaport because it's a wonderful, wonderful show, and you were absolutely fabulous in it.
Oh, thank you so
You don't
much.
have the problem we have here. We have people walking back and forth
That's all
periodically.
right. No
in
problem.
front of
You'll
the
cut away.
camera.
Don't worry.
But Barney Miller, now I'm Not Rappaport, 81-year-old Barney Miller, probably the most popular police officer in history, the most loved. I shouldn't say because there are a lot of those kind of, not particularly like
You know,
Barney Miller.
the more interesting, the realist. If you ask a cop, they'll tell you that the most realistic cop show was Barney Miller.
You did it for almost 8 years.
8 years.
Do you miss it?
Well, you in my business, you go from one property to another. You keep moving, and you. Sure, you miss it. Everything you do, wonderful. You miss.
Yeah.
Timmy Jerome is here, Jimmy was my son in the Rothschilds. I miss the Rothschilds, but you get over it. You move on to the next thing. Every door closing is a door opening. In this business particularly, you can't hang on to the past. You just got to keep moving on to the next.
Okay, it's tough business, so you've been very lucky because you've been busy and you have something that you look
and I
forward
keep
to.
busy. If I'm not doing this, I go down to Atlantic City and do my club act. So I keep occupied on one thing or another.
Successful in your career, also successful in your marriage. You've been married to the same woman.
28 and a half years.
Wow.
4 kids, all grown.
Okay, and living in Los Angeles now, but you...
Living in New York now.
In New York now.
Well, now forever. I'll be here through the winter into the spring.
Yeah, for the show. And then back to Los Angeles, where it's really home.
Unless something else comes up, I don't know.
Okay, the days in the Bronx. Did you ever think? I mean, it's so different.
No, I never had the. I was never an actor as a kid. I never had the slightest intention of being an actor. I was a professional musician and a working musician for 12 years, and kind of slid off into singing and then acting. And I was out of college already before I ever set foot on a stage. So it was never occurred to me in the beginning to be in this position, certainly. But just being successful, that occurred to me.
I have to say, because I know that this is a party and there are lots of people to talk to, and you have lots of people that are waiting to take your picture. But just to get back, when you started playing the saxophone, it was really to meet girls.
Well, yes, I have said that. That's going to come back to haunt me. The point was I was originally a legitimate classical clarinet player. And at just about at the age of puberty, I discovered that more girls went to dances than went to concerts. So I switched to the saxophone and became a dance musician.
Okay, but good for all of us. Now here at City Meals on Wheels, does this mean something special to you?
Well, to me, it's I'm here for kind of 3 different reasons. One, City Meals on Wheels. Yeah, anytime I can help out and through my presence bring a little attention to something that's worthy of attention. Yes. 2, Restaurant Week. The more activity we get downtown, the more activity will come to the theater, the more lively the city will become. And 3, the Seagram's Company has been really helpful. And a lot of music theater, I'm with the National Music Theater Network, and with a lot of, and they've been very helpful in our work.
Well, you've been helpful to them
pleasure.
and helpful to me, and I thank you for being here. We'll be back with more guests at this fabulous party, so stay right there. We're back. Now we're joined by the Postmaster General of the United States, Bob Tisch. Thank you for being here. I know how busy it is and how busy you are.
I gave up putting stamps on the mail today to come over tonight.
Actually, you've been on the show before. The last time you were on the show, you were only president of Lowe's Corporation.
Right.
Now you're Postmaster General of the United States. How does it feel?
Great. A great position with lovely people work. We have 780,000 people working the Postal Service, and they're really lovely people. I've been there 3 months today. It'll be my 3rd month there, and it's been a great job, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Wow. You're living in Washington now.
I live in Washington, yes.
Now, New York City has been a very special place for you. You've been very important to New York. Is there an adjustment?
There is an adjustment, but fortunately Washington is close enough to New York. I come up every several weeks for a day or so, and then get right back to Washington. But it's a great opportunity to serve the nation and to do the job that I am doing, and it's great people work for the Postal Service, like a family.
Right. Well, but the Tisches make it like a family. Just at the beginning of the show, I interviewed your son, Jonathan Tisch, who is now president of Lowe's Hotels. And he had mentioned that his involvement here, because he is host of this very special event we're at, he mentioned that he really became involved in City Meals on Wheels because of you.
Yeah. With the group here, we started about 7 years ago, and it's grown every year, and it's a great institution for the people in the city of New York where we supply the 6th and 7th meal on weekends. And I'm very pleased that it's worked out so well for everybody.
we feed people with City Meals on Wheels who otherwise wouldn't have food, as you mentioned, on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays.
The government only supplies meals 5 days a week, and we supply the 6th and 7th meal and also deliver to the people who just don't get out. And we have, I think it's about 4,000 or 5,000 meals per day on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, there's no secret that Bob Tisch, the Tisch family, is very successful, very wealthy now, millions of dollars. But when you were growing up, were you ever hungry? Do you remember being in a situation
No,
of not
never that,
having,
never to the degree that we have hunger in the United States at this stage. And it's all of us who are fortunate to have passed that stage have to do something to help the people who are not as fortunate.
True. Your parents were very special people. I understand that they owned camps that helped feed children during that time. And you have made a tremendous success of your life. And I'm really delighted that you're here, that you've taken the time from this party to be on the show. I hope that you'll come back and talk to us again now as Postmaster General and give us a real feeling about what it's like to be in Washington.
I certainly will, Arlene. It's always a pleasure to see you and to be with you, and I enjoy being on your show.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll be right back with some more guests at this party, so please don't go away. We're joined now by Sam Bronfman, who is the host of this fabulous party. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
In the Seagram building, you are president of Seagram Vintners.
Seagram Vintners, exactly.
Okay, what is Seagram Vintners as opposed to the Seagram Company?
Well, Seagram Vintners is the fine wine division of the Seagram Company, selling fine wines to the United States, brands like Mumm Champagne, Sterling Vineyards, Sandeman Ports and Sherries, Perrier Jouet Champagne, etc., throughout the United States.
Does everybody here get samples?
Well, you've been able to sample it all night, absolutely.
In a glass.
In a glass.
Not to take home. Seriously, this has really been a fabulous party. I have had a wonderful time. You are the host of this party.
Correct.
What's your involvement in City Meals on Wheels?
Well, we've been involved with City Meals on Wheels for 4 years or so, and I think we were the first corporate citizen to sign on with an annual grant to City Meals. I've sponsored, this is the third event I've sponsored for City Meals on Wheels, and the company and I guess our family too are very, very involved with City Meals. It's a great charity. A lot of my family live in the city, so we're committed to the city. I live just out of town. My brother, my father, and a number of other of us live in the city.
Where do you live when you say just out of town?
I live in Westchester.
Ah, well, that's still... You know,
Very close.
That's
Just on the other side of the Bronx.
Well, okay, but I have to say that your family, the Bronfman family, is a legendary family. A lot of money, millions of dollars, maybe even more than millions, but you've obviously never been hungry. So
True.
It's really, I think, particularly special that you would take your time to feed the hungry, to think about them.
Well, thank you for saying that, and it's true, we are blessed with more than most, but because of that comes a great responsibility that my grandfather, who was really the first of us to have more than most, started, and has passed on through my father to our generation of really a real charitable attitude towards life, and we do a lot of giving, both in terms of financial resources and in terms of time for causes in which we believe, and this is certainly one of them, because it's very important to give back from what you get.
Well, you've given me a wonderful time.
Well,
I've enjoyed the party.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, and I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Okay,
And I really
my pleasure.
appreciate it. Thank
Okay,
you.
good night.
Thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed being here at this absolutely fabulous party, and that you'll join me again next week. Meantime, see you then. Good night.